Yeah, I've got to make sure of that. As for... Just looking at the character sheets I've got here. Oh, have I only got 2? How long was it? And for Marcus, for Dylan's character...
He was very good at hiding.
He did.
I was good at hiding at what I was doing, or what I was, wasn't I?
Yeah. Charm. I don't know why he's hiding. Yeah, and noticing things.
Decent etiquette.
Yeah.
Etiquette, yeah. Etiquette for being late.
Yeah.
And charm.
I'm back.
Very good at manipulation, but...
Oh yes. That might be extremely useful for you. It might get you out of a lot of trouble, that one.
Good.
Right.
Can be helpful, because I'm not helpful in D&D, as Becky will tell you.
Charm, as you discovered with the prince in was it in Cairo, a good bit of charm can get you a long way. Right.
I think that's the best role playing that I've ever been part of.
I don't. The only thing is, the sad thing.
You did absolutely nail it on that one.
Oh yeah. Oh wait a minute. Let's have a look. We've got.
It stopped us from getting killed, so, or at least told off.
Well, we lived to tell the tale, didn't we? So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and again, I've added the warning here. Don't listen to the recordings after the game's finished, because there is going to be a lot of going in and out between characters. It's just only for because I do the recordings, you'll see everything. So if you listen to the recordings, you'll pick up things you shouldn't have picked up.
Yeah.
I suddenly remembered. And over the edge, it didn't matter so much. There's very little secrets between players. With Vampire, there can be. Once it's all done, I should have done this with the previous Vampire. I didn't do it online, so I can never record them. First Vampire game I ran for you it would have been made for a very interesting game. That recording, especially with Mr. White and was it Mr. Oh, what was it? Umbridge, yeah. Oh, Umbo. I can never remember his name.
Umbrus, wasn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get started. I think you all started in Berlin, and you took the offer from a gentleman called Mikail, who offered you a way out as things started to get a bit, as you say, dodgy in Berlin, to say the least. You had the blood and they, etc., and I think you were generally in some of you were in trouble with the Ravnos. Certainly was it Marcus was, but they blamed them for for the disfigurement of a certain Natalia.
Yeah.
I mean, I did try to put that right.
Yeah, but that's always a fun thing to do. And you sold the blood, so you got rid of that issue to the Tremere. And if I remember rightly, that's it. Yes, and you were. I think that's it. Theodore went out of the city, followed by the Ravnos, or a group of Ravnos, who didn't return bar 2, which you got from your clowns. You got told by the 2 clowns that he was spreading stories both in Paris and London that you were Infernalists, hence why you're following him, to clear your names. And if you don't know if you're classified as Infernalists either in the Sabbat or in the Camarilla, you can find yourselves in trouble. And in Berlin you were very close to the, I think something's right, the Tremere, was it a Justicar, who actually was generally pleased with you because you actually sort of helped him. finding where the false Caine was, e.g. underneath the Egyptian Museum.
Yeah.
You were brave enough not to go down there.
Well, I mean, that was going to end badly. Let's be 100% honest.
True. And if I remember rightly, you've met Mikail, you're on the plane leaving Berlin, and I bet best way I described it was, as you leave Berlin from the air, you can see there's fires, blue lights, etc. The city looks as if it's in a little bit of chaos, and you're flying into the night towards London. And that's where we left it, if I remember rightly. You're going,
Yep.
we're glad we're out there. And if I remember right, the plan was to wander off to Montreal, because that's where a certain Theodore has gone with his art collection and his art collection, and I think you want to clear your name, if I remember rightly, was it just in case the rumours get too dangerous for you. So we'll start there. You're on the hairy plane with Mikail. Right.
Well, I mean, literally, the last question I wrote down last time was, "How are we going to get revenge on Theodore?" ?
Leave outside in the sun.
I mean, yeah, but we could either try and chase him, or we can try and draw him to us, which I don't know how we would do that.
Mikail's there and he says, yes, I can understand that totally. He is, how you say, a very slippery gentleman. Indeed.
Do you know much of him?
If I remember what I said was, like yourselves, he has wronged me in the past. And like yourselves, I would like to take my revenge. But how has always been an interesting thing. I've never at the moment managed to get near him.
No, he has this ability to sort of disappear, doesn't he?
He certainly has.
As you approach him, if I remember rightly. I tried to grab him and he just disappeared.
Yes, he is of that sort of ilk. And in the past I've had the same, issues. While we are talking about such things, as you know, we're going to London, and I, thought I would give you somewhere safe to stay in London. I assume you would like somewhere safe to stay in London while you're there?
That would be much appreciated.
Well, I have connections with a certain gentleman's club called... Oh, indeed, sir. Factorium Illuminatum Londonaris. I'll spell that out for you.
I just need to disappear for 5 minutes, but I'll be back as soon as I can.
That's no problem.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's Factorium.
Factorium.
I'll spell it out for you. It's Latin.
Yeah, I gathered.
Pig Latin, so I don't know how accurate it is. But it will serve the purpose. And it actually has a very, boring name. It actually means the Brotherhood of Enlightenment.
Oh, does it?
And Mikail continues on. I have one of my retainers actually runs the club. And always has done. It will give you somewhere nice and quiet to stay. And while we're there, I could help you find the right people to help you in your escapade. Of course, I assume I'm not being, too forward or too for you, ladies and gentlemen. I assume you would like my help.
Well, yes. I mean,
Yeah, I can use some of my influence to see if I
I
can.
come up with a plan to track him down and bring him back.
Yes, it's the escapade to was it
Montreal? Because he's spreading his malicious lies against us.
Oh, indeed.
My life very difficult indeed.
It certainly can do.
Andy, just because my notes. How much do we know about Mikail?
You only met him about 2 days.
Yeah, I thought that. That's okay. So he says he was accused of being an infernalist, and
No, he said all he's actually said was he's wronged him. He's never actually.
I've got that written down.
We need to ask him.
He might have said it, and I might have forgotten, but no, he's not going to say.
Okay.
But yeah. So
my question to Mikail then would be: is what issues do you have with Theodore, and how did he wrong you?
That's between me and him, a personal matter, I'm afraid. It caused me a lot of embarrassment, and all I'll say put me in a very difficult position.
Was this some time ago then, was it, or recently?
Oh, it has been going for years, and this is the closest I got to him. And like yourselves, I was drawn to Berlin by the dreams.
I see.
And I had a sneaking suspicion, like yourselves, he couldn't resist the call of Caine.
No.
No.
Do that.
So it was as good as place to get near him, but as I said, once again he slips away.
He seems to be a person for personal grudges, given what Markus is currently experiencing.
He is one for, how you say,
Although Markus has no idea why.
No, it's
which makes me wonder if it's something trivial.
It always
is. At least to him.
It always is. He is that sort of gentleman that takes small slights and makes big things about it.
Right.
He is well known for it. As I said,
in which case, why do people believe what he says?
Yeah.
He can also be very charming and persuasive. And there are some vampires out there that fall for his charm. Not all are as enlightened. You understand? Some are, how you say, far too wrapped up in their own, was it, grandiose thoughts. And he smiles. At this point, Becky, or your character, if you're watching Becky's character, she starts to zone out again. You've seen this before. Right, could I take you to the and we'll go through what goes through. And I assume you've got your drawing book by you, haven't you?
Well, she always has it, pretty much.
Right. I'll be back in a minute, was it? So
back in a minute.
Right,
bye-bye.
Just move you down. Right. You have one of your chances.
Okay.
And you find yourself running through a dark wood with storm clouds above. It's lashing with rain, it's soaking you to the skin, it's cold, and there's a wind. Okay. You're literally blindly running through the wood. You're fighting way through.
Oh, hang on, I'm catching up with you.
Okay, yeah. You're running through the undergrowth. You literally is dark. Then every few while, there's lightning above you, and the whole wood is lit up. And round you, there are framed, the lightning frames, its creatures surrounding you. They look alien and unholy. And it plunges back into darkness, at which point you find yourself back where you were on the plane. With both Mikail and all them lot looking at you a little worried.
What did you say the creatures look like again?
Alien and unwholesome. They're hard to describe. They look humanoid, but they're not.
What, an unholy?
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes into your mind.
Humanoid.
Some would have been, if they're the right shape.
Anything sort of werewolfy, with it being a wood?
No. That's the only thing you could bit. They're sort of, easiest way, they're like lumps of flesh. And they're not all...
Do they sort of not have a solid form? Not solid, but not fixed. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
You don't know. They were standing there. They had many forms. They certainly didn't feel of this world.
Okay. But did each one stay in a fixed form, or were they changing slightly?
For the seconds you saw them, they were just still and watching you.
Okay. It's alright, just so I get it right when I'm describing it to the others.
That's alright. Are you ready to go back?
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Just move yourself back. Oh, can you?
Okay. Yes, I can, yeah.
Okay. It's all done. I'm back. Oh, she hasn't moved yet. Yeah, she has. Right, sorry about that. Now it's all done.
Alright.
Becky, I think Sabina now is scribbling in a book. Furiously, I suspect.
Yeah.
Mikail says, Sabina, are you alright? What just happened?
Oh, this happens regularly. Sometimes I get conversations can trigger, or people sometimes can trigger a bit of a reaction. I think it's because being Ravnos, we have an unusual lineage.
Indeed, I have heard. So you're a seer?
Some would call me that, I suppose.
Of course. As you said, it depends whence you came and how old you are. And from my things, you would have been called a seer. I don't know what the modern people call them. Knowing them, they just call them insane.
Well, not many people believe in such things anymore.
This I have noticed. It's made our lives a lot easier in some ways.
Indeed.
Well, after all, if they don't believe in such things as yourself, they don't believe in vampires. He smiles.
Indeed.
All this makes for entertainment. Oh, sorry, I'm being distracted. I should allow you to, start, making your plans. There's very little else to do on the flight to London. It should only be about an hour.
May I ask what you would expect in return from us for your help?
To be there when you have revenge on, Theodore?
Okay.
That'll be enough. It will be, a delicious, revenge, if you understand what I mean. You are, a lot younger than I am. And it would be entertaining to watching him to be brought down by higher generation vampires. It would be poetic justice.
Did we know what clan he was, by the way?
No.
Or not? We didn't, did we?
No.
Theodore or Mikail?
Theodore.
No, the only thing you know about him, he can sculpt flesh.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
He
Disappear.
He can literally disappear before you, as in a certain ability that people have.
Flesh.
Nosferatu are the absolute masters of this art.
Yeah.
He smells of coal. Go on.
He doesn't look or smell like a Nosferatu, though.
No.
Although the cologne could be masking it, but he would need to bath in it.
Yeah, I think it's one of his signatures. He's always immaculately dressed, if I remember rightly, with a cane. With a remarkably straight scarf through his eye. E.g., it's...
I mean, I don't know if he's some sort of exceptionally warped Toreador.
Good shout.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, good shout out.
I mean, it's just with the whole art obsession thing. But I'm not sure. We've come across sculpted things before, and I can't remember what it was.
Maybe Malkavian.
He's too sane for a Malkavian. Well, too logical, not sane.
Mikail, I'll tell you one thing. When in Paris, he does talk to the Toreadors a lot.
Well, the thing is that they will be very susceptible to his charm, that's why.
Oh, indeed so.
I mean, I could imagine he's more than capable of dazzling a Toreador.
Yeah.
Mikail laughs. Indeed so. I know there's no Toreador here. All you have to do is show him a little beautiful trinket and you would have him sitting there enthralled all day. It can get quite entertaining.
So, Mikail, have you actually been to Montreal before?
Personally, no.
Okay.
I spent most of my time in Europe, travelling between city and city. I get bored easy. I always need somewhere new to be. And visit
So you haven't got any contacts?
Understandable.
Any contacts? I know people.
In Montreal?
No. Not directly. It will be an interesting escapade even for myself.
So, stop you from getting bored.
He smiled. Certainly will do.
Did we ever catch Mikail's surname?
No.
I didn't think we did. Can I ask him? I don't believe we've been properly introduced. We merely know you as Mikail.
That's the name I choose at the moment.
Okay.
Anything that takes my fancy, and I feel like being a Mikail at the moment. And he smiles. So...
Well, we can change our names. Given our life length, it's usually a good idea.
Indeed so. For myself, it's been a fair while. And you get into the habit, if you travel a lot, of changing your name anyway. Well, I got into the habit. I'm not too sure about some of the older vampires. They tend to use their names for a long time.
Too long, perhaps.
No, this information we have that Theodore's gone to Montreal is good information, isn't it? Yeah. At this point, Odeon and Co. Odie was it, but yeah, it was from the Revanche themselves. and we got it from our little trips to Paris. It was, how you say, an impeccable it was an impeccable resort.
Impeccable.
Yeah. Was it
Impeccable sauce.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the language. But so yeah, the little questioning in, how you say, not in our usual garb. It doesn't scare people.
But yes.
I mean, they probably look very different in normal clothes.
And as I think we said, his art went to Montreal. And as we gather, he never goes far from his art.
I would clearly love to destroy that.
That city.
That was my question as well.
Sure, it's going to be dangerous for him as well, isn't it?
And Mikail says, indeed so. Unless...
I mean, could he be Sabbat clan?
Oh.
I mean, it's a very odd one, a nobleman who's Sabbat, but...
Indeed.
I mean, go to Sabbat, sit in the pipe on.
Indeed so. It could be interesting. That was an interesting thought.
Sabbat.
Or he's going to Sabbat City daring you to follow him.
If you understand what I mean. He's, how you say, sitting there thinking, yep, you won't follow him and he's safe.
Oh, so that wouldn't
Actually, if he knows that I'm what I am, what clan I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
you'll know that I won't be welcome there.
Maybe just about making life as difficult for you as he can, Markus.
Mikail,
Yeah.
As Mikail said earlier, he does tend to have very personal grudges, and they can be very small slights. So maybe you don't remember because it was insignificant to you.
If you watch Mikail, he takes up a hand mirror. He sort of puts it in this behind him, as in, so you can see the mirror. And
Just out of reflex, I'll move.
he has no reflection.
Interesting.
Indeed so. So you are not the only one who would have issues in Montreal.
so we will both be in the same, how you say, boat.
We will both have to miss mirrors. Though, was it knowing the viciousness of Sabbat, such things will be beyond their, was it comprehension.
Beyond mine anyway.
You're not.
Beyond mine anyway.
Well, you're not the only one who has issues with the reflections.
Mm-hmm. So
And Sabine will take the mirror and will do the same thing, and she doesn't have a reflection either. She puts it back on the table.
I've never seen a Ravnos with the same reflection.
So Dirk will do the same thing. Does he have a reflection?
Yes.
Thank God for that.
If you didn't.
The magic mirror, it takes away your reflection.
If only it did. But no.
No, I've always been like this. I've never known why.
Dirk mutters to himself, I'm the only sane one here.
I wouldn't say that I'm insane, I'm just unique.
Unique, yeah, that's one word for it.
Trust me, I've been called worse.
Unique, different, interesting. Yes.
Mr. Was it Voight? You have an issue with Mr. Neuveu?
No, not at all. I'm beginning to like him more and more every day.
I will take that as a compliment.
I think we are... I won't do the rest of this, but the flight will go on much the same. But it'll be about an hour before you start touchdown. Okay, was it... and you actually touch down at Heathrow, and you're taken to a... what you think would be the terminal to do with private things. Oh, Becky, do you show them the drawing you did? I forgot to mention.
Yes. Yes, I will
actually,
do.
before we do the end of the flight, describe what's in the pictures of these guys.
Yeah, while you've been messing around with mirrors and assorted things, Sabine has been furiously scribbling with a pencil in her drawing book, as she does. And when she's done, Suki shows you, and what she's drawn is an image of a person. It looks like her running through a very dark wood. It's really... she's really pressed on hard. It looks like it's really dark and it looks rainy, and there's sort of forked lightning in the sky, and that you can see these really strange looking, slightly alien-esque creatures that are all around her and sort of looming out of the darkness. That's it.
Can you describe what the alien-esque creatures look like? Or is it just shadowy? Just too shadowy?
Yeah, they came across as sort of unnatural, unholy, humanoid in a way, not werewolf.
Just like... perhaps?
Just sort of lumps of fleshy form, basically.
Well, that should give you something to think about.
Were the forms larger than you, or about the same size, or...?
Ooh, I didn't ask that question.
Okay.
Would I have got sense they were larger, or is it a case of, like, Father Dougal, very small, far away?
No, various sizes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, you didn't ask the question. They would have been various sizes. And you would have drawn them as various sizes.
You have some strange dreams.
Oh, these aren't dreams.
Those aren't your dreams. I'd hate to see your dreams.
I don't dream.
If they're not dreams, what are they?
Well, I call them visions.
Visions.
It's as I said to Mikail, sometimes it's triggered by a person or a conversation, or a load of different things. I mean, for instance, and she flicks back in the book, when I first saw you, Dirk, this is what I saw, and she'll show you, and it's a picture of a blue man, and then yours, Markus, and she will show you, and
It was a peacock, wasn't it? You
a black peacock.
Yes,
I
I
showed me that the first time you met me. And I didn't know whether to be
with raven
happy or
feathers.
sad.
That's it.
Yes.
I forgot I did that.
So, yes.
I must have been on form on that day. And Mikail,
So, yes.
Yeah, Mikail smiles and says, as you see, you young do not understand such things. For people like myself, from the time I came from, we took such visions very seriously.
It's, sadly, it can be more of a parlour trick these days.
This I have heard, sadly. And at this point you hear the aircraft sort of hit the ground, sort of taxi up, and Mikail sort of brushing himself off, putting all his suit back in. And ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for us to make our way to our safe house.
Am I going to have any problems with it being a gentleman's club? I'm not a gentleman.
The upper part is I use as a place to, sleep, and you would be my guest. Or guests, sorry. And your 2 clown friends will be welcome.
Do they have to be? We can leave them outside if they're not welcome.
What is this, Mr.
No.
Neuveu? Do you have a problem with clowns?
Not a problem, just a distaste.
You fear clowns?
I wouldn't say it's a fear, just a strong hatred.
Right, at this point, will everybody make a perception and empathy roll? Do it in the role-playing channel. Perception and empathy.
Exclamation mark R.
Oh, I forgot what it is. Is it
Perception.
Actually, was it exclamation mark? Is it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Let me have a look.
and then it's whatever your number is.
Is it D10?
Space. Yeah, space. No, not space. No space.
No, not that.
It is actually. I did it here.
Was it perception? And
It's the amount of dice, D10, and then put an S at the end.
There.
And with no space, no spaces between it.
Oh no.
6 and a 5.
So what is it again? Exclamation mark R.
Which is the
No, not the R.
no exclamation
Oh, right.
mark. The amount of dice you want to chuck.
Yeah.
So, D10 and put an S at the end of it just to sort it.
Do I need a space between the D10 and the S?
No.
that didn't work.
Oh, well, you've done.
Didn't put an S on the end of mine.
Doesn't matter. Aha! That did work. Oh, yes, you noticed.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Wait a minute. Try it in the role-playing channel.
Oh, what's the wrong channel?
Exclamation mark. The amount of dice. D10.
Where's the role-playing channel?
Oh, you noticed.
Oh, okay, got it.
You noticed.
Not.
No spaces.
Oh, okay.
Yay!
Hey. And you
My
noticed.
rolls don't suck. Yes.
No, you got 2 successes.
Yeah.
2 you have noticed this. Right, I'll put it in your channels. What you've noticed. trying to word this in such a way. Right, so let me just. So that's in Dirk's channel, and the other one was in, and I'll put the same into yours. So that's what you notice. That's the easiest way I can describe it.
Okay.
I think the other way is. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Where is it now? So, yeah, he gets. The door gets opened, and he said, "Please follow me." They should be. My retainers should be waiting in the main, was it, terminal for us. And you sort of follow down. Do you follow him down the stairs?
Yeah, might as well.
Towards the terminal.
Yep.
Yep. Can we check as we're going through if, just generally, if there's anyone that we recognise? It's a busy terminal.
Yep.
Do we see anyone we've seen in Berlin?
You sort of go about a few yards towards the terminal as a car at speed comes up, sort of approaches the urine plane, and it stops. And out of the front seat steps a gentleman in a suit with bald head.
It's
And
me.
Hmm?
Me.
You? Yeah, well, yeah, steps out and he says, "Mikail?" Mikail says, "Yes, James." Ladies and gentlemen, you seem to have a reception committee in the airport who would like to question you. I believe they're from the Prince. Now, would you ladies and gentlemen like to avoid the reception committee?
No. If we avoid them, we're going to cause more trouble down the road. We should go.
I would take the sideways step. Do you really want to meet the Prince under such circumstances? And do you really think they're going to listen to you?
Yeah, don't forget, we've been accused of messing with Infernals, haven't we? Been in collusion with Infernals, I should say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure what the Infernals have actually done, but yeah.
And the gentleman, was it, opens the back door of the car and sort of motions. And Mikail turns. I was being a little rude. This is my retainer, Mr. Dunbar. He's the head of the gentleman's club we're going to.
Sliding away like this going to create problems for you?
They tend to avoid the club.
Really?
Really. They think they're a bunch of crackpots.
Well, I think the people at the club are a bunch of crackpots, or you think the Prince is a bunch of crackpots?
No, the Prince, how you say, believes them to be harmless occultists.
Right.
Beneath contempt. So, do you want to join me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get the car.
Yeah. I mean, how the hell do they know we're here?
That's the more worrying bit.
Because, I mean, you wouldn't have had time.
The only person I would have talked to, says Mikail, would have been my retainer, and I trust this gentleman totally.
Well, and you've been with us ever since we decided to go with you.
Indeed so.
Maybe it was the Justicar in Berlin.
I mean, did we check we weren't being followed at the airport? I think we did.
And Carl Schreck, wasn't it? So not Carl Schreck.
Yeah, Carl Schreck.
Carl Schreck.
Last time I'm doing him a favour.
Yep, and you basically want to do this. The car turns and heads off, not towards the terminal building, but towards, if you've ever been to, I think it's Heathrow, you'll notice there's a large, lots of warehouses around the area. They basically, yeah, there's lots, because I've been through it. He basically drive towards one of the warehouses and one of the gates out of the place, one of the lesser known ones. And you basically drive, as you drive up to the gates, the security guards open it and let you through. No, without, they don't seem to bat an eyelid. And you sort of disappear into the back streets into London. You don't take a direct route. You sort of snake around, as in you sort of snake around the back streets. You take some very obscure paths. You are going towards the West End, and as you go, I think Heathrow's far side of London. Yeah, you go past, through central London itself, through the city, onto what we think would be Mayfair. In Mayfair, you actually go down a back street and you go behind a very large, a big townhouse, and it stops. And James opens the door and says, "Please come this way, and make it quick."
Yep. Do as he says.
Yep, I'll follow him.
Yep. And he leads you to a back door, unlocks it and opens it. "Please go in, gentlemen and ladies." Right.
Inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and afterwards he closes it. You find yourself in a sort of I think it's a storeroom. And where's that doing? And you're taken into the club, and you're taken. Up to an empty? Beyond? It's an empty room beyond the doors, in which there's basically a number of doors, and James will say, "Please follow me to somewhere more comfortable, where Mikail and myself will explain where you are. Explain more to where you are. Please follow me." And you basically get led into a series of passages up at least one floor. The club is very well. It is what you imagine a gentleman's club to be. So you have wooden panels on the wall, pictures of gentlemen, as in Victorian gentlemen, and some modern ones. It has plush red carpet. It smells clean and polish, and you get led into a nice room with basically you think was a meeting room. There's a big table with chairs around it, pictures, a fireplace, which there is a fire burning in it. Those of you who dislike fire will avoid the fire. And once you're all in, Mikail will ask you to, would you please sit down? We'll, how you say, give you a quick welcome to this club. And give you a little, was it, how you say, a welcoming speech. It seems fitting at this point.
Takes a seat.
Yeah. And Mikail will say, well, as I've said before, welcome to the Factum Illuminatum Lundaris. And this gentleman here, as I've said, indicated is Mr. Dunbar, who's the head of this illustrious club. As you said, you can thank him for giving you sanctuary here while in London, though he really has no choice in the matter. While you're in London, you can use this club as a base, but considering the Prince wants to talk to you, I would avoid long trips outside just in case. Mr. Dunbar has arranged some quarters within the club which are safe, and the servants of the club will help you while you're here. Myself, I will stay here myself. I will give you all the aid in your preparations for your trip to Montreal. So, make yourselves at home. At this point, there's a knock on the door, and a gentleman walks in what you would think was Victorian costume, down to the frock jacket, not the top hat. This is not the done thing to wear a top hat indoors. And he walks in. And he says, Mikail, I heard you had arrived, and you have some very interesting guests, including a Mr. Voight, was it publisher of some, writer of some very interesting books. And Mikail will say, indeed so, I will introduce you to him. And he sort of points at you, you're Mr. Voight, and said, that is the gentleman in question. And this gentleman walks up and puts his hand out to you, Mr. Voight.
I take his hand.
Nice to meet you, sir. I have read your books with great interest and find some of your views in the books very interesting indeed. I would like at some point in the future to discuss them with you, though at the moment I know you have arrived, so I'll leave it for later after you have refreshed yourself.
Sure.
He sort of bows to you, and he turns to Mikail. Sorry for the interruption, but I do find Mr. Voight's work very interesting and enlightening. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
And your name, sir?
It was very rude of me. My name is Sir Henry.
Sir Henry.
Indeed. And when he shook his hand, it was cold like your own.
Just Sir Henry, okay.
Yep. And I believe of the same clan as yourself. Illustrious clan as yourself, Mr. Voight.
Okay.
And
Warming to him already then.
Hmm?
I'm warming to him already.
Yeah. He sort of bows and leaves. Sorry about that. I had forgotten to mention that Sir Henry was here.
No problem.
He's another gentleman that sort of as it makes his appearance. So, I'll have the servants show you to your rooms. Well, the servants will show you to the rooms when you're ready. And as the matter of feeding, we will, if you do need it, we'll arrange, appropriate vessels for you.
Thanks.
Okay. I have to leave. I have, some things to do myself. And so does Mr. Dunbar. He sort of puts his arm around Mr. Dunbar. I have some business to sort out with this gentleman. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your what left of tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow evening. Old habits die hard. And he smiles. And he
Yes,
leaves.
okay.
He leaves the room, and you're left in the room by yourselves.
Oh,
Have you met Sir Henry before, Dirk?
no.
Uh,
First time I'm aware of him.
I'll show you. I should have pictures. Oh, well, no, I should be able to do it. Right. Oh, I have. I've actually got it. Oh, excellent. That should. No, I don't want that one. I was just about to give
I've
you.
forgotten what clan is Dirk.
Ventrue.
Entry.
And so is.
And Markus?
Marcus didn't. Never told you. He just.
Oh,
didn't.
he did. Yeah, I figured it out. No, it's okay. I
Yeah, he
remember.
never told you. Outright.
Just hinted at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, figured it out. Of course.
But as you said, you're not the only one who's going to have the issue.
No. 3 out of 4's a bit bad.
Yes. That's going to get a little entertaining for all of you. You just hope there's not many La Sombre there. But you do know they, as much as you know about the Sabbat, the La Sombre, and the, was it Tsumi? I can never say that properly. Or the
Demeats or something, isn't it?
that's it.
Something like that.
Mitzi.
That's it. Beatsy are those two main clans. They're the ones that have been generally responsible for the creation of Sabbat. For some reason, they didn't like their elders, which is not surprising. So wait, I'm trying to find the pictures. I hate the way it sorts these out. Right. I haven't put a shortcut on here yet. My cloud died, so I'm sort of doing this the hard way now. I have to have a memory stick, but I've got software to actually share it now. Cast. That's James Dunbar.
Okay.
And Sir Henry, if I can find his picture.
My new best friend.
Your new best friend.
Your new biggest fan.
One thing you would have noticed about Mr. Dunbar, you would have heard it. He's flesh and blood, he's alive.
Okay.
Is he also Scottish?
No, he spoke with an English accent.
It's alright, just Dunbar is
Oh, yeah.
Scottish.
Yeah. No, he spoke with an English accent. Let's have a look. You pair have been in England long enough, I think. I'm trying to think what would be best. Now, how were you... Well, this is a question to both Dirk and, was it Markus? How were you in your time in England? How much attention did you pay to the media? As in TV, theatres, etc.
Probably enjoyed the theatre, but not really the TV.
What about Dirk?
I tend to read the newspapers.
No, you wouldn't. No, it's very unlikely you would have heard. You don't watch TV basically or anything like that.
Really.
That's fine. Wait, where are you? You little git. It does help if I go to the right one. Bear with me here. I've got to go there. Said I've got to work out how to share these and easier. I've got a way of doing it without the cloud. Carla manages to fill the drive up, and for some reason it's screwed the cloud up, which it doesn't make sense. So I still can't figure out why it would have done that. And where are you? It's there. Here it is. Cast. It is. It is him. And that is Sir Henry. That's Sir Henry. Except he's in his full Victorian regalia, not in a modern suit. Okay, so what are you going to do now? Are you going to, was it call a servant and go to bed? It's probably fairly early, as in just after midnight.
Well, I don't really fancy wandering around outside.
No, we need to stay low for at least a few days. They'll be looking for us once they realise we've slipped, and that. Oh, what we should have done is got them to turn the plane round and get it to fly off.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that one.
Yeah.
Good idea, actually. Yeah.
This is true.
We could get Mr. Dunbar to arrange for the plane to take a random flight this evening out of the hangar.
But will they think that we're on board?
Well, if it goes, well, it will have gone into whatever hangar it normally is in. Therefore, I mean, you could fake it. You could have some roughly 6-foot boxes be loaded into the plane.
Yeah.
And then get it to take off.
For 3 coffins?
Well, yeah, 3 boxes. I mean, don't make it too obvious. Make them at least look like they're trying to hide it. And then just go for a flight to somewhere plausible.
Reese.
Go on. Yeah, you have to find Mr. Dunbar first.
I was in kind of like a bell you can ring for summon one.
There is a bell in there, as in the servant's bell.
Okay.
Yeah, you ring it, and after a while, about 4 or 5 minutes, a gentleman in a, was it what you think would be like, looks like a penguin in a servant suit, comes in. Sir and madam? Sirs and madam, what can I do for you?
Would it be possible to speak to Mr. Dunbar?
I'll go and find him, was it, immediately, and see what he says. And I'll be back with his answer. He sort of bows to you and sort of curtly goes out, disappears. About after 10 minutes he comes back with, was it Mr. Dunbar? Ah, so, I believe you want a word with myself? Ah, so, what do you want, ladies and gentlemen?
My companions and I are a little concerned that our presence here might cause you some undue issues. So in order to put off the people who are following us, would you be able to organise for 3 roughly 6-foot boxes to be loaded onto the jet, and then for it to go for a flight somewhere where we could have disappeared to, in theory? They might not buy it for long, but it might give us a few days.
I do like your thinking. Leave that with me.
Okay.
And we'll get that. We'll do that. Was it near dawn?
Yes, and then it looks like we're trying to
Escape.
Yeah.
Indeed. Oh, was it like your thinking? Very devious.
You don't live this long without learning a few things.
Indeed so. If you excuse me, I think I'll get that sorted for you.
Thank you, and many thanks for your hospitality too.
It is contrary to what Mikail said, it is always my pleasure to visit us. How you say, look after his guests. And I do have a choice. And he smiles and walks out.
Okay. Interesting comment.
Yeah, we're just writing some notes.
Is he human or mortal? Anyone any thoughts about how we're going to clear our names yet? When we do catch him, if we do catch him.
Well, I think we've got to think of how we catch him, or we can think of how we clear ourselves.
What can we catch him? What do you do when you catch him?
I mean,
Do we try and take him back to Berlin?
I mean, he would just weasel his way out of it. He's one of those type of people. He needs to die, but he needs to die in a way that...
He needs to die in a way that exonerates us and clears the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to be easy to do.
Nope. I mean, maybe he's an infernalist.
Maybe.
That would be too easy, though. Plus the fact there'd be those who always said that, oh, well, they set him up.
If he wasn't
He needs to die and
If he wasn't infernalist, we could unmask that. That would clear the name, wouldn't
But
it?
he would spin it as to, oh, well, they... Yeah. It needs to appear unrelated, but he needs to die in disgrace in a way that makes people question everything he's ever told them. But how we do that... I mean, unless we make it look like he tried to kill another vampire, maybe? To gain more power? I mean, that's going down the dark side, though.
Yes.
Let's have a look.
I don't even know how I would do that.
No.
But it's a discussion for another time, I suppose.
I'll put a question out there. How much do you know about him?
Very little. Whilst we're sitting here, I assume that the servant and Mr. Dunbar have gone.
Oh, yes.
Can I have a good poke round the room?
Yeah.
I'm looking... I'll message you what I'm looking for.
Yep. Where is it? Oh, got you. Right, let me have a look.
Yeah, Suki's talking, she's not sitting, she's just wandering around the room, looking at stuff, touching things, opening stuff.
Right, what's the nearest thing? Let me have a look. I just have a quick look at the character now. Yes, that's it. Just looking at other. Right. Just put that in your channel. Just do that in your channel, and we'll be back to you. So you're wandering around.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's everybody else doing while she's wandering around the room?
Trying to think of a way of hiding myself in Montreal, but not really managing to get anywhere.
You maybe need to find out information on Montreal.
Yeah, we don't really know much about it, do we?
Montreal. I've analysed beforehand before it should arrive. What's the best route in? How are we going to locate him?
You hear a cough. It's from Odie.
Do you have an idea, Eddie?
Well, if you don't mind us going back into civvies, and we're the ones that are not being accused, we could do some of the legwork for you. Only an idea.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Well, you seen us out of suits. You didn't recognise us, did you? Out of our, was it our clown costumes?
Oh no, nobody recognises you outside of those. That's kind of the point.
Exactly. How you say we disappear, literally. And we don't scare Mr. Neuveu as much.
No, you were fairly decent.
They're in clown costume and they've now got some very evil smiles on their faces. You're thinking, yeah, we scare you. And we haven't.
Be nice.
They look at you with their sad faces. They look back. Other than that, as you said, we could ask questions. And not draw too much attention.
Well, we can have a look. I mean, really, you could just go down the nearest sort of travel agent and ask them all about Montreal and say, oh, I want to go on a very expensive trip.
Or you get
we could find out more about it.
You could get books.
Or the library.
Unfortunately, you can't go and ask the usual sources of information.
The
Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
Pardon?
Well.
No. they. Unless you have a Nosferatu whom you know and you can trust, they trade information by their nature. They would trade the fact that we are here to somebody else.
Well, we did make some pretty good Nosferatu contacts in Berlin, didn't we?
But that would mean we would have to, as it return. It would take more than. It could take about a day for us to go back, if we were to do that.
Also, you don't want to be anywhere near Berlin at the moment. It's been fire.
Odin Nut. Yeah, and if I remember rightly, we stole something from a certain Setite.
We gave it back.
True. But they're still, was it, bastards?
Well, yeah, should be more careful with their stuff, shouldn't they?
Oh, I agree totally.
Also, I would hope that I don't have to say this, but no nicking stuff from Mikail while we're here. Yes.
spoil sport. When we
Put it
leave?
back. Whatever it is, put it back. No, not when we leave.
Okay, they empty their pockets of various little bits and pieces. You know, the little ornaments and stuff like that. Well, we have to keep the practicing.
Yes, well, put these back where you found them.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can go and do what you do tomorrow.
I certainly can.
Might be worth changing your clown costumes for something a bit different if we're in London. Because you might be recognised. So get a different costume, the pair of you.
Can you imagine, was it two clowns? Was it asking questions?
Yeah, that would look a bit weird.
That would be an interesting, fun thing to do.
I was looking through my notes.
Pardon?
I've got a line that says Nosferatu, Claire, got contact number next to it.
Is that the one in Berlin?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There'll be about an hour's difference, remember? I can never remember its
Yeah.
plus minus.
You could give him a ring tomorrow. I mean, it'll cost you something. And do not tell him where you are.
No.
Or, mind you, yeah, you can hide your phone number, so...
If we're going to find information, it might be a route.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it for general information on in Montreal, though? We might want more specific information later.
Don't know what we want, actually, in Montreal yet.
Well, I think the only things you do know, it's the Sabbat held city.
Mm.
And you need to find out about Sabbat too. How much do you actually know about them?
So is that only Sabbat in Montreal then?
It is. It's most of that area around Canada is Sabbat held territory.
So there's no anarchs in there at all or anything like that?
They don't tend to tolerate them as much as the Camarilla does.
Do they tend to accept independent clans like Ravnos, Giovanni? I can't think of any more.
The only thing you know is, where you're in Europe, you tend to avoid Milan, which is Sabbat held.
Yeah.
Your clan tends to avoid it.
Okay.
Though the Giovanni have been known to deal with that city at times. But they will deal with anybody that gives them money. To be fair.
Okay. So Ravnos as a general rule, avoid Sabbat territory.
In Europe they certainly do.
Okay.
And you do know there is Sabbat that actually are members of the Sabbat. Ravnos who are members of the Sabbats, but they tend to be what you call Gajan, as in they're non-Romani.
Okay.
That much you do know. They tend to be Europeans that are sort of not of gypsy blood, like true Ravnos are.
Okay.
And you probably know that for each
So
clan,
they're more sort of traveller types, but not proper gypsies, yeah. Okay.
and the other thing it's common knowledge is for each and every clan in the Camarilla there is what they call an anti-tribute in the Sabbat. So there, for Ventru there's the Ventru anti-tribute, for the Bujar there's the Bujar anti-tribute. And there's even a Malkavian anti-tribute.
Oh, I bet that's insane.
How can Malkavian get any worse?
Yeah, exactly.
Is a question. Yeah, but yeah.
But that's about as much as you know. Probably the other thing you know, they don't play the Masquerade.
So would there be a Toreador anti-tuber as well then?
There certainly would be.
It's a very odd party, isn't it?
Oh yes.
I mean, maybe that's what Theodore is. He's a Toreador, but he's gone off the dark side.
Yeah.
Could he be a Zimitzi with his flesh moulding skills?
It's usually, there is the possibility. It's usually there are other clans to practice the art, but it's usually near enough exclusive to that clan.
Or is it? Meaty.
Yeah.
Well known for, was it sculpting, was it flesh? And of course, was it those and the Lasomba, you also know the core of the Sabbat.
Well, as ridiculous as it sounds, maybe he's gone home.
Yeah.
He is French as well, isn't he? So
Yes.
Oh, shit. Yes. He's gone home.
well, this isn't going to be good because he's going to have the advantage there.
The main language in Montreal is French.
French, isn't it? Yes. French Canadian, yeah.
I never asked whether if Mr. Neuveu actually knows French.
Probably a little bit, just enough to get by and to pick up people. But that's
No,
about
not
it.
enough, in other words.
Yeah.
That answers a question I was going to ask you later on. That's going to be interesting.
That's a truly terrifying thought now.
Yes.
Oh, well, this is going to be a lot more difficult than I thought it was.
You think I was going to give you something easy?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's done. He's messed with us, and then he's fucked off home.
Yeah, it's like, come and get me if you're there.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
Odie says,
He wants his final showdown with Markus on his own territory,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
he does.
Odie says, well, at least you know you're walking into a trap.
Yeah, then we can expect it.
Yeah.
How do the Sabbat feel about killing vampires? Do we know?
They're very good at it.
Okay.
So, I don't think... I mean, we could just kill him. And they're not going to care.
Depends how influential he is in Montreal. Depends how many friends he has.
Yeah.
Odie and...
He's quite an older vampire, isn't he?
Here's a question. How strong is the Sabbat grip on Montreal?
As far as you can tell, total. Odie sort of puts his hands up at this point. Madam, can we sort of go?
Yeah.
Sort of prepare, get some sleep so we can do a lot of work tomorrow.
Yes, of course. It's been a very long night for you.
Yep.
See you tomorrow evening.
And they sort of Odie and co was it sort of somersault to the door, open it in a grand was it clown fashion. Odie was it sort of gestures for was it Ivan to go through, and he sort of goes through and somersaults through at the door, and Odie goes and does a grand bow to you all
and then sort of whisks out the door, closing it. And you hear laughter going down the corridor.
Never close the door normally.
And I bet Mr. Neuveu is now a lot more relaxed at this point.
Yep.
Just think, I don't think you've only met him dressed normal. Have you met him?
No, as me, no, I haven't. I wasn't there when.
Yeah. You're in for a shock. Hey. Yep, so...
I've only ever seen them as clowns.
Yeah. And where they were sitting, there is a lot of bits and pieces. They've just left them on the table.
Idle gits. I told them to put those back. I'll try and put them back where I think they should go in this room.
Okay, yeah, as you
rather than just leaving a pile of crap in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
I do wish they wouldn't steal things all the time. Sometimes I think it's a bit of a compulsion.
Actually, let me just do something. I was just gonna try to think. That's it. You pick up one of the items. It's a best way of describing it. It's made of jade. It's sort of humanoid. But it has little definition to it. It's sort of where its hands are. It's sort of like mittens. It's as if it looks like a human being that's been melted. And it looks familiar.
Does it look like one of them aliens?
Are you going to compare it to that? Was it Becky?
What's happened? Do I get a funny feeling off it or something?
No, it just... As you
It's a statue that I think looks like one of the aliens that you painted.
I put it by the picture.
It does have that sort of same sort of shape.
But I wasn't in this room. I hadn't been in this room when that happened.
But Odie and Co picked it up.
Wonder where they got it. I might just keep this one till the morning and see if I can find out where they got it from.
Yeah. So you're keeping it?
Yeah.
And on the base is a sort of a triangular shape. It looks like a regular triangle with the top bit stretched up. It's hard to describe. So it's like not like
an isosceles triangle.
Yeah. So normal. You've got a normal equal-sided triangle, except someone's sort of the pointed bit they've stretched up.
Yeah.
And that's all that's on the bottom.
I wonder if that's the symbol of the club, because it was something to do with Illuminatum.
And they said, and what did Mikail say about them?
Oh yeah, that they were a eccentric cultist. No, not cultist. That's my D&D showing. What was the word?
You're nearly there.
Something like that.
I'll let you think. What's everybody else doing at this point? Are you all looking at the statue?
All said. Wasn't gazers? Was it something else? Was it gazers? Gazers, was it?
You were nearly right with cultists.
Yeah, I keep thinking cultists in my brain at the moment. It's not.
Occultists, wasn't it?
Yeah. As you said, you've got D&D on the mind.
Yeah.
Yep, occultists. Oh, pardon me. Oh, that's not good.
Can we? I mean, do we know where our rooms are? Have we been shown them?
Not yet. But if you ring the bell, a servant will appear.
Shall we ask to be shown our rooms?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Do you ring the bell?
So, yeah, we'll ask.
Almost at the same time the servant appears. Ladies and gentlemen, what can I do for you?
Would you be able to show us our rooms?
Oh, indeed so, madam. Will you follow me? And he sort of goes to the door, opens it, and sort of beckons you to follow him.
Yeah, I'll go with him.
Do you all go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically, it's about 3 or 4 stories high, about 3rd floor up. He sort of shows you to, there's a number of adjoining rooms. There's actually about 3 rooms that are sort of close together. The windows have already been blacked out, so no light comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, these are your rooms. If you want to lock the doors, there is a key in the door.
Oh, thank you.
You're most welcome. Is there anything else I can do for you before I go?
Not that I can think of, Dirk. Markus?
No, I'm alright.
Have a good sleep in the days. He sort of bows and sort of disappears out of the door.
That servant was a mortal, yeah?
Oh yes.
Okay.
The second he shuts the door, I'm going to start doing the same thing again with checking stuff.
Just roll again on your on your thing and see what you get. That's a new one.
Ooh. I think I botched that. Oh yeah, I have botched that. Sorry, that's my typing.
Oh, I missed D's and all that out.
Yeah, that's what I did. Okay. Yeah, you notice that Suki is wandering around the room. She's picking up ornaments, putting them down, looking inside them, all over the place. And when she's done, she will say, "I'm sorry, I was just checking that we are truly alone."
Fair enough.
I have a feeling that the things in the drawing and this figurine, I think it's something to do with us staying here. I have a feeling that the creatures in the wood, I don't know why it's a wood, but I have a feeling it might represent the people here and the people we're surrounded by here. I could be wrong.
Oh. That That's not a good analogy.
No, it's just this that's made me think of it, and she will show you the little jade figurine and the triangle underneath it. Although I don't know quite where Adi and Ivan lifted this from, I will have to find out.
So you're not even sure if they lifted it from this place or not then? Somewhere else?
I think they probably did lift it from here, but it's just a case of from whom. I don't know whether they lifted it out of a room or whether they saw something on the side somewhere. I don't know. I mean, they chose well. Jade is quite valuable.
Well, they have that knack.
It's reassuring.
Well,
Oh, it's okay. I've told them not to steal things from you.
Thanks.
That's okay.
So you think it might be in danger if we stay here then?
No, I just think... Just have a gut instinct that we're being watched in some way. Hence my slightly strange behaviour earlier. I don't know. I don't think it's hostile at the moment. But we don't have much of an option.
We don't seem to have, do we?
No.
I mean, if we're being totally paranoid, was there even people waiting at the airport?
Yes. Was there indeed? Good point. It seemed a bit quick and obvious, as you pointed out before.
Mm.
Just a ruse to make sure we came along, I guess, maybe.
Quite possible. I don't know why.
No. And so Mikail's not letting on how Theodore's wronged him. Or embarrassed him, I should say.
I mean,
When he asked him
if it is something embarrassing, I can understand why he doesn't want to tell us. He's only known us for 2 days. But equally, it could be the shoes on the other foot.
would be.
Well, I trust you two gentlemen, but anyone else I tend to view with suspicion. Even if they're trying to help us. I find I live longer that way.
Yes. I guess we'll have to stay here then for the day,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
come up with a plan with Mikail. See if we can really trust him.
Yeah.
So I'm staying quiet, but I'm just listening.
I don't know how we can prove if he's on our side.
And we'll tell.
Just gonna have to roll the dice, aren't we?
The dice. Time will tell and see.
Well, with that cheery thought, I will bid you good night, gentlemen, until the morning. Well, sort of.
Thanks for that.
And Suki will go to her room.
Yeah. I assume you're all locking your doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you leaving the keys in the door?
Yeah.
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 Right, on that note, I think that's as good a place as any to finish this section of the game.
Yeah.
I think I might even put a cover behind the door as well.
Yeah.
I was just about to say I might stick some wedges underneath it as well.
So you wedge the door, won't you?
Well, I assume we have like a sitting room with rooms off it. Is that how it's organised?
It's basically just a bed with a front room, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I wedge the door to the main room as well? Or is
Yeah.
actually no, that will just look suspicious. No, I will leave it. I'll make it look like I'm trusting.
Yep. Okay, that will do that. I'll work out the XPs next week.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yep. I think it was I thought some of that was made up. And I think it's going to be it's going to be an interesting one. As I said, I was listening to what you were saying. I'm not going to comment on that because that would spoil it. But I think you're going to have an interesting time.
Oh, I need to trust already.
Well, yeah, you've got the jade statue and the dreams. Shame the other two guys missed it.
Yeah.
That's actually now been here.
I bet he'll arrive. Was it Californian time? It does say where it is. And I do say I'm there.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for that.
That's
See you all next time.
I think that's.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Oh yeah, as he said, I thought that went particularly well. And he said, I try not to sit on my hands and not say anything.
Definitely giving us some things to think about. Definitely.
Oh yeah. That's why I thought to do that, because you've now got to think what's going on and why. And your first night there.
I can't believe that we actually missed that Theodore has just gone home.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
There is that possibility. Yeah, Montreal's French and he's French.
We'll figure something out. Maybe.
This is why I said it's not set in stone how this will develop at all.
Yeah.
You may never even get as far as Montreal. So I know what you lot are like.
Can lure him out of Montreal, that'd be great.
Well, that's not a bad plan at all, actually.
No.
But how do we do that, is the issue.
What was that?